Birmingham City, having parted company with Wayne Rooney. In comes this morning Tony Mowbray. He has got the job. It's a 2.5-year deal. He's 60 years of age. And Tony's managerial portfolio, apart from West Brom, also includes time at Hibs, Celtic, Middlesbrough and Coventry. So in he comes. What do you think, Simon? They've gone from Wayne, big name, and we'll talk about this further down the line. A big name, can he do it? He couldn't. In comes Tony Mowbray, who knows this division and knows the landscape.
It's all right. You wonder what the purpose of the exercise was. And I know Graham's written a column about it, about managers getting into situations and opportunities being for the golden generation. But what was the point of taking Johnny Eustace out to put Wayne Rooney in to go back to a steady pair of hands? It's okay. He couldn't do it. He couldn't get Sunderland where they wanted to go. I think perhaps because he spoke out of turn and the owner got the ump with it. Blackburn Rovers a little bit the same, but it's okay. You're not gonna have any dramas at Birmingham. You might give yourself a chance at the playoffs. Not this season. That's gone.
Every job's different. I mean, he was well thought of at Blackburn, well thought of at Sunderland. I think the majority of supporters and the staff and players were a bit disappointed he left. He might go there and get a different tune out of the players and get them up the table. You don't. Every job is different for everyone. You know, someone can get a tune out of a team, others find it really difficult. Circumstances. I
mean, Gary Cook, who you were talking about last week, Simon, the chief exec, he's the right leader at the right time for our club, and I know that our supporters will be right behind him and the team. 3 rights in 1 sentence, so they think they've got it right.
Well, as you know, I made the point, and Graham makes the point, and I referenced Graham when I wrote the article last week about intellectual capital. He often says, who have you got around you, who are you listening to? So Birmingham City's owners have got an experienced operator, and he goes, I tell you what, I'll get that fella that used to be a good player that's got a 27% win record as a manager. He'll do the job for us.
He's a great player.
Great player. Okay.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make him a great manager, does it? That's the point I'm making.
I mean, there's so much. I allude to it all the time, and people will think he's simplifying it. There's so much luck involved in management. There really is. But one of the most important things you have to have is people around you that you know are with you, that people have a different, that'll challenge you at times. Won't always nod their head when you're saying things, and I was specifically you going to talk about Wayne Rooney now.
Talk about Wayne Rooney if you want.
Yeah, I think if you look at his management career, it's been a major disappointment to him. First of all, you know, someone who's such a warrior, a great player, a world class player in my opinion. I'd say I think getting most people's teams, anyone's teams, near enough when he was in his pomp, because of his attitude and his skill set. So it must be a real difficult time for him to accept why his management at the 3 clubs has just not worked for him.
If you listen to the background noise, first of all, there's luck involved in everything in life. In every walk of life, everyone has an element of luck. You make your own luck. You use common sense. If you're walking into a football club at 6 in the league and there's very little wrong with it besides the fact that they wanted someone that looks good and feels good and perhaps raises their profile, you don't go around changing everything ultimately and then realising that perhaps it's not that easy to change it and carry on with that until ultimately you get fired. But you also listen to the background noise, not just background noise from uninformed people, but from people who used to play for Wayne Rooney like Curtis Davis. They said he doesn't coach the players. He manages. At 35, 36 years of age, you have that ability to be able to manage. You have that experience. I don't think so. I would have thought that most coaches at that stage in their career, as they're developing their management credentials, would want to be on the grass, would want to be coaching the players, would want to be impressing their knowledge, their awareness across the players, and then as they gain the experience, get a bit more hands off. And also, if you're going to do that hands off, how about having some experienced people alongside you? Not the people that he had. Look, every facet and every component part of what Wayne appears to have done are completely diametrically opposed with common sense.
Did he not have any experience with them?
But he had Carl Robinson, not Carl Robinson that's gone and managed Salford, but another Carl Robinson, Ashley Cole. Where's the management experience
Is
there?
it not the case, though, Simon, that some owners are appointing individuals on their social media followings? As crazy as that sounds, you've touched on this.
But again, I make the point, and it goes to his points, that who you're listening to. You got a guy that's your CEO that was the chief executive of now the most successful club in English football, and he advocates for Rooney. People like him are the problem.
Gary Cook.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean,
Absolutely.
why did they ever think it would work out for Wayne? You know, there was nothing really to show that it would, Graham.
No,
we all agree he was a great player.
He had nothing in the bank to suggest he was going to make a right go at Birmingham, team that were going well under the previous manager Eustace. American owners now who see things very differently. They see the commercial aspect to owning a football club maybe as a priority, and what Wayne's enormous following on social media would bring.
But there's a balance and there's common sense.
But there isn't a lot of common sense, you know that, in football.
There isn't. But if okay, and that's true. But if you've got a CEO that is in a position,
what's his priority? What would his number one what would he be brought in for?
Bit of both, I suspect, because without the success on the pitch, you don't have the commercial operation. So to suggest that you're going to sell shirts off the back of Wayne Rooney as a manager, it's the shirt equivalent of Ronaldo signing for XYZ club or Beckham going to Los Angeles because of commercial opportunities. But he's a bloody manager, not a player. So if he damages the team, then ultimately he upsets the whole apple cart. So the commercial opportunities for Birmingham that are languishing in the Championship are completely and utterly nil on the basis of a poor managerial appointment.
Well, it's a perfect comparison, Graeme. Let's see what Mowbray does. When Eustace gets sacked and in came Wayne, they were 6th. Mowbray has joined them this morning and they're 20th. So one would think, and Tony hopes, the only way is up. Because if it's not, they're gone.
Yeah, he's an experienced manager at that level, and he will bring what we're talking about, experience.
Yeah.
He will know, because he's been in the business for such a long time here in England. He will have people he can trust and people he will not pick the phone up to.
Perfect time for him, though. I mean, it wasn't a perfect time for Rooney, and you can't blame Rooney for being given the opportunity. You can blame the people that gave it to him. Right now, Rooney's come in, and all the background noise was, why in God's name would somebody take a manager out that was 6th? There were certain parts, and Ian Danta referred to it, that the fan base wasn't enamoured with the way the team was going, and results had come off a little bit, but they'd won the last 2 games. I've been understanding from various people I've been speaking to that the Rooney appointment was lined up 6 months before he even got in the job. That's how far back they decided that he was going to get this job. Now, Mowbray comes in, the wheels have come off. All he's going to do is deploy common sense, go back to basics, look at the playing squad he's got there, and Birmingham are not going to get relegated under Tony Mowbray, so the job will be done for him.
But some of this how it's changed. Go back to when you were an owner and you're appointing a manager.
Yeah.
It's a long time ago.
It's a fair
And
while ago.
lots of managers, you had lots of experience of.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Move along.
So what was your priority? Someone's going to get your results.
Correct.
An owner today is looking at that and what?
Well, I think
What's he going to bring commercially?
As well as how they're going to play.
He's going to profile of the club. People will be talking about Birmingham City and the Far East, maybe
If they're in the Premier League, they will be.
in America.
If they're in the Premier League,
because we've got Wayne Rooney. That would have entered the thinking process.
If they're in, but again, and I understand that because they're looking at it from a very one-dimensional, myopic point of view. But you've got some intellectual capital that's able to. I'm a chief executive that was a chief executive of Manchester City, so I know my way around. You've got me here for a reason, right? Let me tell you what my reasons are. You didn't hear the speech that Gary Cook gave when Rooney came in and set out the parameters of what Rooney was going to do. Fearless football, all of this sort of nonsense that gets trotted out by people that seem to want to say things without any substance behind it. So that's the reasons why I'm very critical here. The owners themselves, you're absolutely right. Sometimes we make decisions because we think we can make a decision from one industry translating into another. But if you've got somebody like this guy alongside you, what's the point of having him there?
Yeah.
What's the point of that?
Okay, you've heard Simon, you've heard Graeme. Mowbray is in. Rooney has gone. Birmingham fans, are you happy with the appointment? They've gone for experience. Tony Mowbray knows his way around the division. Is he the right guy to start getting you up the Championship table?
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the TalkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. TalkSPORT.